There's no limit. Buy 4, get 4 free. Plus 0% financing for 18 months. Call today and save.
Good morning, America. Breaking news. James Comey's bombshell memos reveal what they say about his encounters with President Trump. His accounts of the president's conversation with Vladimir Putin about prostitutes. As Trump adds Rudy Giuliani to his legal team, Giuliani vows to help end the investigation.
Breaking overnight, captured. The grandma on the run, accused of murdering her husband and her look-alike. Finally caught. We'll tell you where U.S. Marshals found her.
Outrage on campus. The fraternity suspended over this disturbing video.
I solemnly swear to always have hatred in my heart.
Promoting racism, sexism, and homophobia. Overnight, the fraternity speaking out what they're saying about the tape.
Barrier breaker, the incredible moment. Senator Tammy Duckworth makes history, bringing her 10-day-old daughter onto the Senate floor. Will this spark a change in the workplace?
And Ariana Grande's big comeback. The superstar singer defying gravity and overcoming tragedy with this chart-topping new song, Overnight.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
Good morning, America. A little brand new Ariana Grande for a Friday morning.
Yeah, big show, and it's a big moment for Ariana Grande. Her first new song since that tragedy at her concert in Manchester. And that song was the #1 trend overnight. It's great to have her back in action.
Great to have her back, and it's great to have Diane Sawyer back here on GMA. And she'll be here in a little bit to preview her special tonight on 2020, Hidden America. But first, we're going to begin with those infamous James Comey memos based on his notes from encounters with President Trump, released to Congress and obtained by ABC News overnight. They reveal comments President Trump allegedly made about Vladimir Putin and fired National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Our Chief Justice Correspondent, Pierre Thomas, is tracking all of this for us there in D.C. Good morning, Pierre.
Robin, good morning. That's right. Those controversial Comey memos now in the hands of Congress, and President Trump is weighing in.
Overnight, ABC News obtaining the memos former FBI Director James Comey wrote after those controversial encounters with the president. The memos, turned over by the Justice Department to congressional investigators last night, largely matched Comey's congressional testimony and what he said in an exclusive interview with ABC News. After his first encounter with President-elect Trump on January 7th of last year, Comey wrote the president seemed preoccupied with those salacious accusations from unverified intelligence. The subject, prostitutes. There were no prostitutes. There were never prostitutes, Comey recalled Trump saying. And Comey telling George.
And he interrupted, started talking about it. Do I look like a guy who needs hookers?
Roughly a month later, after another meeting with Trump in the Oval Office, Comey wrote the president was again talking about prostitutes. He wrote, the hookers thing is nonsense, but Putin told him, we have some of the most beautiful hookers in the world. Comey noted Trump didn't say when Putin told him this, but confirmed the conversation last night.
He told you that he'd had a personal conversation with President Putin about hookers?
Yes.
Also released Comey's memos regarding what Trump allegedly said about fired National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. The memo confirmed that Comey wrote Trump allegedly said, I hope you can see your way clear to letting this thing go, to letting Flynn go. It also revealed a new bit of detail. According to Comey, Trump said Flynn had serious judgment issues.
Overnight, Trump tweeting that Comey's memos proved there was no collusion or obstruction of justice, and that Comey leaked classified information. Comey supporters have said such statements are simply not true, Robin.
And Pierre, Comey's former deputy director is now facing the potential of criminal charges?
That's right, Robin. The Justice Department's Inspector General is asking the U.S. Attorney's Office here in D.C. to decide whether Andrew McCabe, who was recently fired, should be prosecuted for misleading investigators. McCabe has denied those allegations, but now faces the prospect of a possible criminal investigation by the very agents he once led. Robin?
All right, Pierre. Thank you, George.
Okay, Robin, there are two more new developments in the Russia investigation. For that, let's bring in our chief White House correspondent, John Karl. And John, after weeks of scrambling, the president has beefed up his legal team in a big way.
I sure did, George. He is bringing in Rudy Giuliani. Giuliani, of course, is the former mayor of New York, but he is also the former U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. That is the very U.S. Attorney's Office that ordered the FBI raid on Michael Cohen's office. Here is what Giuliani said about why he took the job. Quote, "I am doing it because I hope we can negotiate an end to this for the good of the country and because I have a high regard for the president and for Bob Mueller." That's what he told the Washington Post. He also revealed his advice that he has already given the president on how to deal with the special counsel, saying, quote, "My advice on Mueller has been this: he should be allowed to do his job. He's entitled to do his job." Now, George, the big question, of course, is whether or not the president will take that advice on how to deal with the special counsel.
Right, he's gotten that advice before. Meantime, we're also learning more about this meeting the president had last week with the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who's overseeing the Russia investigation.
Yeah, now this is according to a source close to the president. A source close to the president tells ABC News that Rosenstein told the president that he was not the target of the investigation that led to that raid on Michael Cohen's office, the president's attorney's office. Not a target. Now, George, the Justice Department has had no comment on this. Rosenstein has had no comment on that. And, of course, not being a target now does not mean that he would not become a target of that investigation down the road.
Okay, John, thanks. Let's get more on this now from our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. Let's pick up right there. Dan, how significant this revelation, if true, about Rod Rosenstein and the president?
Not particularly, because there's no way that a judge would have signed off on a warrant to do that raid on Michael Cohen's office and his home, et cetera, based on information they were trying to get on Donald Trump. Meaning, you don't go to a lawyer's office to get information on the client
right,
unless there's some evidence of a crime being committed between the two of them. So that's hardly surprising. The question becomes, is he a target of the larger investigation? Even if he isn't, as Jonathan points out, that can always change.
And I guess the other question is, it depends on what they find in the...
Well, that can change everything, right? I mean, that can change everything. But there's still going to be attorney-client privilege issues with regard to Cohen and Trump, that nothing that was exchanged between the two of them as attorney-client that could be used against him.
Right. Meantime, these Comey memos, the president up and tweeting on this morning. He says last night, the president said the Comey memos just out show clear there is no collusion and no obstruction. Also, he leaked classified information. Wow, will the witch hunt continue? Now, what's surprising here is the president's basically now using the Comey memos to back up his points. In the past, he's called them a hoax and fake.
Well, that's right. And if you take the Comey memos at their word, they're devastating to President Trump with regard to whether he's telling the truth. He wrote these at the time. Let's remember when these memos were written. They were written at a time when James Comey presumably wasn't worried about his job. And they detail conversations the president says never happened. You know, if these conversations did happen, and it sure looks like they did, based on these contemporaneous memos, it means that the president's lying.
Yeah. Meantime, the referral of Andrew McCabe to the Justice Department?
I think that that's a dangerous situation for Andrew McCabe. This is a separate office. This is the Department of Justice handing it off to a U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C., which in theory investigates this independently. They're going to look at it, determine, do they think that the misleading leads to the level of a crime? You know, Andrew McCabe needs to be concerned.
Okay. Dan Abrams, thanks very much. Michael?
All right, thank you, George. Now to that other story breaking overnight. The grandmother accused of killing her husband and her lookalike going on the run is finally captured. ABC's Marcus Moore is in Texas, where she was found. Good morning, Marcus.
Well, Michael, good morning. Those authorities tracked her down in South Padre Island, which is a popular spring break and summer vacation spot along the U.S.-Mexico border. This morning, it is where Lois Reese's alleged run from authorities came to an end.
She is the smiling, seemingly pleasant grandmother who's been the focus of a multi-state manhunt for weeks. A source telling ABC News a sharp-eyed manager at a restaurant in South Padre Island, Texas, recognized Lois Reese after she asked for a menu. Marshals later finding her at a neighboring restaurant where she was having a drink, then in handcuffs without incident.
Right now she's being held in our facility, and we're working with both the Minnesota and Florida detectives to best put the case together.
Reese was one of the most wanted fugitives in the country. Police say the 56-year-old shot her husband David in their rural Minnesota home back in March, then took off in their white Cadillac Escalade, soon after spotted at this Iowa casino. U.S. Marshals joining the search as Reese allegedly drove to Fort Myers, Florida. Authorities say she befriended 59-year-old Pamela Hutchinson, a stranger bearing a similar appearance, before shooting her to death. She was last seen on surveillance video taken just hours after the second alleged killing. Investigators say this is Reese with the car she's accused of stealing from one of her alleged victims, and later here walking into a Florida hotel right up to the check-in desk. This morning, it is unclear why she was in South Texas, just 30 miles from the U.S.-Mexico border.
And marshals believe she had been in the South Padre area for the past several days, staying at a Motel 6. And sources tell ABC News that investigators believe Reese had been living off of a $2,500 jackpot she won at a casino in Louisiana. Michael.
All right, thank you, Marcus. Looks like her luck ran out. Robin.
It does. All right, Michael, now to new details about that deadly engine explosion on a Southwest flight. New video shows the panic on board, understandably so. As Southwest faces more criticism this morning, the airline is it taking too long to inspect its fleet? ABC's Lindsay Janis has more on that. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Robin. Southwest is defending itself, saying that although it opposed suggested regulations last year, it did take steps to improve safety. It comes as more cell phone video emerges from passengers who feared for their lives.
Everybody breathe, relax.
This morning, newly released video showing the terrifying scene on board Southwest Flight 1380. This passenger wearing her oxygen mask, recording as a flight attendant desperately tries to calm people down.
Everybody breathe, we are almost there.
The attendant yelling out the location of the defibrillator.
It's in the front cabinet.
As investigators study the plane's failed left engine that hurled debris, cracking that window and killing passenger Jennifer Reardon, the FAA says it's preparing to order more inspections on hundreds of heavily used 737s. The order would come 1 year after the engine's manufacturer recommended more frequent ultrasonic inspections of some fan blades, after a similar incident in 2016, also on a Southwest flight. But some U.S. carriers, including Southwest, objected to the time frame for completing the new engine inspections. Southwest tells us it implemented its own inspection program last year, and it's now accelerating those engine checks.
And in addition to our accelerated inspections, we're meeting with GE and Boeing on a daily basis regarding the progress of the inspections, and we'll continue to work with them throughout the investigation.
And this morning, we're hearing from passengers on board Flight 1380 who say they've received a check for $5,000 and a travel voucher for $1,000 from the airline. The airline is calling it a heartfelt gesture. Robin?
All right, Lindsay, thank you. Michael?
All right, Robin. Now the new details on that deadly ambush. 2 sheriff deputies shot and killed while they were sitting at a restaurant in Florida. The suspected shooter is also dead. ABC's Victor Oquendo is there in Trenton, Florida with more. And Victor, investigators are still searching for a motive.
Good morning, Michael. The Gilchrist County Sheriff says he doesn't know why his deputies were targeted. We're right in front of the restaurant where this happened, and you can actually still see the bullet holes in the window where the shooter fired through. The sheriff calling those deputies the best of the best.
2 Florida deputies killed in an ambush while on duty. Sergeant Noel Ramirez and Taylor Lindsay were eating at this restaurant in Trenton, Florida, when a gunman shot them through a window.
After 26 years of doing this, nothing prepare you for senseless deaths.
Ramirez, a veteran deputy and loving father, 25-year-old Lindsay, just beginning his career.
They were men of integrity. They were the best of the best.
Officials say the shooter is 59-year-old John Hubert Highnote of Bell, Florida, found dead at the scene. They believe he was the only assailant. And while Sheriff Bobby Schultz said there is no motive yet, he lashed out at the targeting of first responders.
What do you expect happens when you demonize law enforcement to the extent that it's been demonized?
President Trump tweeting his support, saying, "My thoughts, prayers, and condolences are with the families." Florida Governor Rick Scott also supporting the small community, saying it is a true evil for anyone to hurt a law enforcement officer. And in Florida, we have zero tolerance for violence, especially against the police.
We're going to put that badge back on where it's supposed to be. We're going to strap on that gun again, and we're going to get out there and do our jobs, because that's what Sergeant Ramirez and Deputy Lindsay would want us to do.
And the suspect was found dead of a gunshot wound very close by. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is now investigating, but again, Michael, there is still no motive here.
All right, thank you, Victor, and our thoughts and prayers with their family as well. Robin.
Certainly are. Now to new developments in that Starbucks incident. Philadelphia's police commissioner and the mayor are now both apologizing after Dante Robinson and Rashawn Nelson were arrested. ABC's Lindsay Davis is here, has those latest details. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Robin. 1 week later, the Philadelphia police commissioner and mayor are both taking a page out of Starbucks' PR book and issuing those apologies. And the police commissioner isn't just saying he's sorry, he's also creating change. He says the department did not have a policy for these kinds of situations until now.
Who's bidding? Our city! Who's bidding? Our city!
Philadelphia city officials are now saying they're sorry.
I fully acknowledge that I played a significant role in making worse.
The Philadelphia police commissioner, who initially said his officers didn't do anything wrong when they arrested these 2 black men at Starbucks, now says he made a mistake.
I can appreciate, in light of the Starbucks policy and how well known it is to many, why these 2 men were appalled when they were asked to leave. For this reason, I apologize to them.
And Thursday night, Philadelphia's mayor also offered an apology to Dante Robinson and Rashawn Nelson, who say they had just arrived at Starbucks for a business meeting when Nelson asked to use the bathroom. He says the manager told him no unless he made a purchase. They told our Robin Roberts it was just 2 minutes later that the manager called police.
So when they do approach you, what do they say and how do you react?
As soon as they approach us, they just say we have to leave.
Robinson and Nelson say this is a problem that goes far beyond what happened in that coffee shop.
What do you want to see happen here, Dante?
What I want is for a young man to not be traumatized by this and instead motivated, inspired.
And now a North Carolina man says a similar incident happened to him in a Charlotte Starbucks in 2016. LaMarcus Cook says he was asked to leave by security because they didn't believe that he had made a purchase. He says he had made a purchase. He streamed part of the encounter on Facebook Live. He has since hired an attorney. Robin.
Yeah, this story just continues on. And again, we have to remember next month, Starbucks is going to have an afternoon of racial bias training. So we'll see what happens.
Thousands of stores all across the country. We have new details now about the celebration of Barbara Bush's life. The public can be able to pay their respects to the former First Lady today from noon until midnight at St. Martin's Episcopal Church in Houston. Tomorrow, a private funeral service will be held there for 1,500 guests. The Bushes, Clintons, and Obamas are all planning to attend. First Lady Melania Trump will also be there, but President Trump will not. I will anchor our full coverage tomorrow starting at 12 Eastern. That's right here on ABC. I want to go to Rob now, tracking those wildfires in the Southwest.
Hey, George, I had a new fire break out yesterday across eastern parts of Colorado, actually shutting down I-70 for a time there. You see that area right there where they were doing some water drops. Also a fire breaking out in central California in the canyons and valleys in between near the Sequoia National Forest, with winds gusting there out of the north. And look at this satellite picture. This is our new high-resolution satellite that really shows the detail of the Ray fire. This is the one that's burned almost 500 square miles in western parts of Oklahoma. You see the smoke there billowing up high into the sky. Some parts of the Panhandle have seen their driest 6-month period on record, and critical fire danger across parts of the Southwest today. We may see a little bit of rain getting into the fire zone of western Colorado and western Oklahoma and eastern Colorado later on today. That would be good. Time now for your weekend getaways, brought to you by CarMax.
At CarMax, we buy all the cars.
All the cars?
All the cars.
Old cars?
Yes.
New cars?
Oh, yeah.
Sports cars?
Indeed.
A big old boat-like car?
Permission to come aboard.
What about a car that's all...
I don't see why not.
What about, let's say, I don't know, a purple van with a painting of a wizard just shooting lightning out of his fingers, riding a unicorn, sneezing rainbows?
Definitely.
I'm just asking for a friend.
Yeah, I figured.
On the cooler side again today, but at least we're going to have some sunshine today as temperatures top out in the mid-50s. Starting out in the 30s, though, but 55 degrees at 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock, too. Temperatures will hold steady, so a good evening to go out and a great weekend, too, for all those events taking place for Earth Day, which is on Sunday, of course. We've got 62 degrees with a mostly sunny sky on Saturday, 64 on Sunday. Your next chance of seeing any rain across the area, not till the mid part of next week.
Coming up, we have that outrage after disturbing and offensive video of a fraternity services described as extremely racist and homophobic. What that fraternity is saying this morning.
And Diane Sawyer here live with her incredible investigation into harassment in the workplace after spending months traveling, talking to hardworking, everyday Americans, sharing their stories of harassment and abuse.
presenting the Shark Ion Flex 2X.